Yeah, so what we wanted to do is to be able just to have an open conversation in our coaches conversation cafe. I guess one of the things that we want to start out with, and we're not going to take up too much time, and we want to come back every week and kind of get after it. And so we're going to welcome questions and any kind of input from different coaches that we can get, just to be able to make sure that we can cover all the things that are needed from our coaches. But the thing that we're going to start out by talking about is just kind of like what promoted this conversation, like what got me and Adam to really talk about that. Adam, I'll let you kind of take a stab at that first, and then I'll chime in and we'll discuss a little bit more about what we know.
Yeah, I think in general, again, thanks again, Isaac, for having me. I really certainly appreciate our partnership and the work that we've been doing. But you and I have been doing this for a few years now, where we began the conversation on how we could support our athletes, student athletes, whether they're junior high, high school, college age students, and being able to provide some support for students. But I think that at the end of the day, the real conversation was really for our coaches, and how can we support our coaches and really build a good training opportunity to help coaches become better coaches, and have a series of different coaches from different levels participating in our coaches conversation cafe. But at the end of the day, this is a lifelong learning experience for many, and we have to always remember that coaching changes all the time. And I think for us, it's really a good opportunity for us to have a discussion, but most importantly, continue the dialogue, because coaching, and especially during these particular times that we're in with COVID-19 and just in general, how do we support our students? How do we support our coaches? And how do we build a campus where athletics is a big part of everything that's happening on that site?
All right. Yeah, I think one of the things that we've always had in common, Adam, since I mean, dating all the way back to when I was working in a group home, is that we're passionate about how the young people turn out, and it just so happens that we're also passionate about sports as well, and both of us have experience coaching, and I think that that's an area that we can naturally give in because of our passion, is to be able to talk about how coaches can serve better. And so ultimately it gets to the athlete, and athletes, obviously, you kind of chime out as an athlete probably after your early adulthood area. And so for the young people, there's a lot of young people out there that will be influenced by coaching decisions. I don't know how many times I've heard stories of people being disappointed by something that an adult told them, or even being affected in a positive way by what an adult has given them. And so, yeah, for us to be able to come together on this and really have these discussions, I'm excited and looking forward to it. I think it really hits home. I know for me as a coach and as a therapist, putting those two things together is something that you've kind of brought up as an important piece of what we can do, and a unique scenario.
Yeah, and you're exactly right, Isaac. And really, at the end of the day, we have many coaches that know a lot about X's and O's. And there's also some coaches out there that may know a little bit about X's and O's, but the most important part is, how do we establish a strong rapport and relationship with our student athletes? And I often think about that, because it's an important part, and it's often left out or sometimes overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
I think obviously all of our coaches are in it for the right reasons. They have the idea and the support that they want to build for student athletes in terms of understanding the game, whether it's on the court, it's on the field, whatever, or even in the swimming pool, for example. Part of this conversation really stems from, growing up, understanding the roles that coaches played in my life. And I can reflect back to many coaches that really had a great impact in my life. Coming from where I came from, understanding that not a lot of resources, but also I knew that I have loving family, parents cared about me, but they also looked to my coaches. They looked to my coaches to help me get to the next level. And fortunately, I was able to go on and pursue a college career and play athletics at a high level. And, now it's really time to give back. I really believe it's something very special when you have coaches that are out there that that can make a difference in someone's life. And I think we start talking about mental health, talk about how we can support students and families. It's very important to revisit and ask the important questions to individuals like yourself that do this work every day, that spend many years coaching at the lower levels to high school, all the way to being at the college level, and also having the background as a therapist and being able to bend your ear a little bit to give us some of those answers, and maybe a lot of the answers, because our young people need it today more than ever. Our coaches need it more than ever today. And again, we always assume that everybody knows what's going on today, and we're just in a very difficult time.
Mhm.
As student athletes start to make their way back, I know many in our area, many sites are starting to get back on track at the high school level. But again, it's really preparing those coaches to have the necessary tools so they
Right.
can be ready for those students as they come onto their campus.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you bring up some good points whenever you say that, coaches are kind of the extension of the family.
Hmm.
And our family have suffering points when we talk about the mental health aspect of it. All of our families have suffering points. And so the coaches aren't any different. We as coaches aren't any different. And how we handle that, really kind of feeds into the way that we'll deliver to our athletes. And so that's a really big deal, I think. And a lot of times we don't pay attention to that. I think as coaches, we just kind of move forward with next play or next scenario up. And I think that's really a big deal, because we'll ask our athletes to go out and perform at a high level, but in life we're kind of leaving that out. We're not performing at a high level. There's more that we could be doing. And so that becomes a challenge, is to really start looking at ourselves as coaches and find out what more we can do. There's some really positive things going on as far as intention that coaches have. And what if we can like hone in on that kind of
Right.
scenario as coaches and get better at it? I mean, if we can be masters at our minds and our emotions, I feel like that puts us in a way better winning scenario than anything else.
Yeah, there's that great saying, Isaac, that they must know that you care before they care about what you know.
Mhm.
And I'm a firm believer of that. This is a time where coaches, the expectations are much higher, but at the same time, we got to be able to provide them with the kind of support that they need. We coaches are going out today here in our local area, and they're needing support as they get out there.
Mhm.
We know that they're adults. We know that they're trying to do the best that they can. But part of this initiative and our coaches conversation is really about providing a hub for coaches. There are many different great resources out there that the National Association of Mental Health, Mental Illness, NAMI puts out. The NCAA puts out a lot. The USA Sports. There are so many different resources that we want to make sure that we build a nice little hub for coaches so we can keep it all in one place. NFHS, the National Federation of High School Sports, they also have a really great site where you can get more and more information on how to work with student athletes. When we start talking about mental health and mental illness, that's where, again, I like to lean on you because of your work and working with coaches and working with other student athletes. Again, we have to create this hub. This cafe is really, timing is perfect. Everything's about timing, but I really feel like we have an opportunity here. In fact, we're going to be speaking and presenting to some coaches here at the local level and being able to put it all together, but really focused a lot on communication, but also really looking at and honing in on mental health and support for students. But again, it's providing these tools in real time. Everything today has to be in real time because it changes and it evolves every single day. Today's student athlete is much different than it was when I played many years ago. And I'm sure the same thing for you, Isaac. I mean, you can reflect back in your time and, time has changed. And so we as coaches have to get up to speed on how we can communicate more effectively. We have to be able to work with the whole family, the whole child, and it's fully the wraparound approach. And I believe that as a coach now, you have a greater responsibility But you also got to remember that that's what you signed up for initially, to get parents on board, but most importantly, to get the students to know that you care about them and you want to see them be successful, not just academically, not just athletically, but emotionally as well. And there's that third component. I kind of see it as a three-prong approach, because the academic piece can be something that we could all work on together, along with our athletic director. But then when we start looking at the social and emotional learning, it's going to be important for us to reach out to Isaac and the work that he's doing, and other therapists and licensed clinical social workers that can really help us. Because again, it's going to take a group effort. Coaching today is going to be much different than it was a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. So, there's just a lot of work to be done.
Absolutely. Hey, speaking of work to be done, you and I both are working on different projects that we have. You actually have been involved in being able to help out some way already with a couple of your projects, but maybe if you can, I'll talk about one of my projects first, and then if you can think about
Sure.
one that you want to talk about that you're working on. So one of the projects that I'll talk about is my coaching development program that I have, that's all about developing the mental and emotional strength of coaches over about a 12-week period, of really just kind of pushing forward on looking at ourselves and being able to get the best out of ourselves mentally and emotionally. And so that's a project that, it pairs well with another program that we'll continue to talk about too, but with our athlete development program. And those are basically meant to build up the resilience that we need mentally and emotionally. And really just kind of sounding off on getting better at different things outside of the court or the swimming pool or whatever, the playing field is. So those are that's my top project, is my coaching development.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate you working on that, Isaac. That's I've had an opportunity to look at many of your new developments, and I must say I'm very impressed. Obviously that's why we partnered up on some initiatives, but the several projects that I have going, we have two particular curriculums that we use, but one in specific is called CAST, which is Coping and Support Training. And this is a program that we're using across the nation and also in Canada. And many school sites, many agencies are beginning to take notice of this program. This is an evidence-based model program that's recognized by the U.S. Department of Education and SAMHSA, Substance Abuse Mental Health Service Administration, as a legacy model program. And so some of the work that we're recently doing is we put together an initiative with one of the local high schools by being able to provide a full 12-lesson program for some of the identified athletes that are having a tough time academically and socially, and male or female. Bring those students and actually encourage them to participate in the program through an invitation process. But through that, we'll be starting that program here mid-October. But in company with that part is also doing a segment for coaches as well. So it becomes a full program where we have a component for coaches, we have a component for students, and then we also have a component for parents. And so it's really the three-pronged approach in developing a model that we know that we can support the whole family. And so this is one of the current initiatives that we have going, and our intention is to continue to build this momentum, continue to build momentum and get it out to other places, not just here in California, but throughout the nation and Canada as well.
Right. Yeah. Likewise, as far as, being able to look at, you've shared the program. I'm familiar with, some of the programs that you have, and because it's been a while now since we've known each other. And so just all the programs I've seen be really successful whenever they're used in the capacity they're supposed to be used in. And so I'm excited, as you are, to be partnering up and really kind of getting the information out there so that the people who need it, can get it. All right. So we're going to exit here shortly, but if you have any kind of nuggets or anything that you want to deliver, Adam, before we take off, we'll give it to our podcast listeners.
Yeah, that sounds great. I feel like it's this is the timing couldn't be better for us. I know many of your families are having a tough time right now during this time, and we want to continue to work together collectively. It's going to take a group effort in all the work that we're doing, but most importantly, at the end of the day, we're here for you. Again, I appreciate all of Isaac's support through his initiatives and efforts. This is going to be ongoing, but I think for us, at the end of the day, the more we're working together, the better it's going to be for our students and families that we're serving.
All right. Absolutely. Appreciate that. And for me, the nugget that I'll just drop off is everything starts with you. And so as coaches, as we do the conversations, this is about you serving yourself, taking that time to better. I feel like the saying I use often is be the sun. I mean, the sun doesn't care whether there's clouds or rain or cover, any kind of cover, it just shines. And so that's the idea, is just to be better at shining and create that for yourself so that you can do what it takes to be the light in the world. All right, you guys. So we're going to be back next Tuesday with our live at 1:00. This also will go up on podcast, so it'll be available to you through iTunes and Spotify at least. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to email, and we'll put our information down in the comments below. But you're welcome to email questions. That's something that we could actually cover in our podcast in the future. And we will talk to you guys soon. Take care. Have a good day.
Have a great day. Thanks.